You may have realized that being healthy feels different than it did in the past now that you're over 50. If you want to maximize your health potential but don't have time to read through overwhelming pages of Google links, this is the show for you. Welcome to Healthy Tips After 50. We love doing the research, finding solutions, talking to health experts, and learning what works and what doesn't. Now, your host. She spent the last 25 years dedicated to feeling her best and is here to share her best findings with you, Susan Rosen.
Hello, everyone. This is your host, Susan Rosen, and my guest today is Justin Franzen. Is that right?
Correct.
I didn't even ask you. Okay. I always forget to ask. And Justin is in an area that's very, I think, and very topical right at the moment, and for all of us. And I'm going to let him go ahead and introduce himself and tell us how he ended up doing what he's doing.
Yes, thank you, Susan, for having me on. I'm Justin Franzen, founder of Athleticism.com and EMFrocks.com. I'm the author of Athleticism, Whole Body plus Whole Brain equals Performance. I'm a athleticism performance coach by trade. I've worked with amateur and professional athletes for 25 years.
Wow.
And we're in our 25th year this year, which is really exciting.
Wow. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I've always looked at the body really in an out of the box approach, and how can we develop optimal performance out of it? And so I do nerve work for sports performance. I treat concussions. I do a lot of incredible work with light, sound, frequency, vibration. We do emotional clearings. We do a lot of the energetic properties that go into everything. Because as Bruce Lipton will say, your health lies in your chi, your energy field. Yeah. The chemistry would be secondary. So you need both. But when we can amp up that vibration of your body, you're going to see your health and your performance improve. So that's been our focus over the last couple decades. And about 10 years ago, Susan, I noticed the wearable technology starting to come into play, and our athletes were breaking down from this excess EMF. And so what I really dove into is understanding the difference between how we're made and how that stuff is made. And when I found out, it was significant finding, and I just jumped in to this topic in the deepest levels, bought all the meters, started metering homes, developed a business out of that metering the homes, and now we're the industry leader of natural EMF protection of hand-mined crystals of our grounding bags, and they're sold throughout the entire country through doctor clinics.
Oh, wow. Interesting. So I'm assuming that people don't have to get a prescription or anything for them, right?
No. We're not going to go the medical route on this talk. We like to connect to God and get grounded by nature below. And when you can do that and start to eat really clean food and things that your body can recognize, and hydrate properly and rest and smile and sleep and exercise and get grounded, all that good stuff, and sweat and move and breathe, that's what health is. And so that's what we'll be diving into.
Okay. Good deal. Sounds interesting. I'll get myself all not hunched over in my chair and sit up straight and be all ready to take all of this in. I'll let you kind of lead us through this whole
you got it there. Well, I think right now, basically the biggest question people have, and our topic's going to be on electromagnetic fields. They call them EMFs. And they're these invisible wave forms that kind of chip away at our life force and our health and age us quicker than ever. And so why do they do that is what we're going to talk about first. And then we'll establish some proximity protocols and how you can purchase meters and resources to go to find it. So we'll just kind of have a fun journey on the EMF space and talk about 5G and all that stuff.
Yes. The thing that everybody said. Oh no, I think that sounds great. Yeah, especially ending up with the 5G, because that's like everybody's out there marketing that, and the best and the greatest and the
Right. So what I've learned is we've been lied to in a lot of industries, and as you know, in the food industry, they've been a big lies because you have some gluten
Oh, yeah.
intolerances, as do I, and I was one of the early pioneers finding out about it 30 years ago. But if they hadn't modified the seeds and dipped them in Roundup, which is an herbicide patented as an antibiotic, we wouldn't see a lot of those sensitivities. And so the food industry is really hidden a lot of this stuff, and so has telecom industry, so is our government or FCC. They're rolling out this 5G at levels that we've never seen this type of electrification in our atmosphere ever. And it's making a lot of people sick, as we've seen the last few years.
Interesting. So how does it, I'm trying to think what the right word is.
Well,
how does it affect us that we would go, oh my God, that's from the 5G?
Right. Well, let me back up a little bit before I get into the symptoms of it, because I think the symptoms it's all cognitive, or the first parts, but let me dive into that a little bit later. But the first part in our storytelling is to understand, what is a waveform?
What is it? Yeah.
And so literally that's how we're communicating right now. So our universe and us, Susan, are one. We're made on waveforms and resonances that distribute equally in every direction. They're called scalar waves. So for example, is the sun a one-directional laser dot beam that you can point at the wall and see a dot? No, it's not. It distributes equally. That's unpolarized waveforms. Is a pebble that I would hold in my hand and drop into a pond do a straight line to the right? No, it's a circular waveform that distributes equally in every direction. That's the premise and the basis, the foundational framework of how our universe is made and how we're made. Now we get into the EMFs that are non-native, that are man-made. They're all one-directional waveforms, or they don't work, Susan. So that's why you see a cell tower with panels facing every direction.
Wow. Got it.
Because it can't go every direction. It has to point in the direction that it's going. That's why you have an electricity in your home, an alternating current with a direct current, AC and DC. They're in waveforms, but they're one directional. And if they don't meet, you have a really high static and dirty electricity. So when they meet, you have cleaner source of electricity, but it's all measured in the speed of a wavelength. That's how we measure this stuff. So this is the cool part, because you can get a meter to quantify the level of stressor in the body from different sources of man-made EMF.
Oh, wow. Okay. So is it something that you then, does it give you like a printout of all of the different things that's coming in, or does it do it like one at a time? Like, do you say, oh, I'm looking for this particular one. Tell me how much it is that I'm looking for this particular one. Right. How does that work?
Let me break it down for you. So we measure electricity in 3 different ways: electricity and magnetic resonance. And they use a milligauss meter. And that meter meters about 50 to 60 waves per second. And then we use a Stetzer electric meter, and you could get it at STETZER, StetzerElectric.com. That meters 4,000 to about 100,000, waves per second.
Wow.
And that's a dirty electricity spectrum. It's a faster speed of a wavelength and more static involved in it. And then you go, and I'll share with you how it gets, the dirty, I'll tell you now. Dirty electricity, it can be dim switches on a light, trying to keep the level of light you're requesting. Solar in homes. Unfortunately, everyone wants to have their own sustainable, clean energy, but solar, unfortunately, they haven't grounded it properly, and it causes lots of dirty electricity. And you're still on the grid, so they still have you connected to the grid when you're using it.
Right.
So it's not the best source. But the big challenge with it is it causes lots of dirty electricity in the home, like the highest you ever see. Every home I metered last decade has really high dirty electricity that has solar in it. You can also get it from LED lights. because there's transformers in those new LED lights. So brand new homes, hey, they have all this great, white lights that light up the whole house. Oh, it's the worst thing for your health. So it can cause lots of dirty electricity.
So quick question. If my neighbors have solar, is the dirty electricity just under their roof, or does it?
Okay, so great question. If you were to plug a Stetzer electric meter in your wall, and you raised if you have a dim switch and you raised it up and down, you'll see the meter go up and down. If you did that in your neighbor's home and you had this plugged in your home and the meter plugged in your home, you would see the meter go up and down. Their homes are connected. The further away, the better. But if it's a pretty close proximity, those lines are connected and you'll see that dirty electricity travel through into your home.
Okay.
Yeah. So then the third thing, Susan, would be the wireless signals.
Yes.
So that's where we get into the faster ones. And that's how we're communicating right now. I mean, I'm hardwired, but there's, a signal that's wireless taking it to you and back to me. So, but anyhow, the wireless, they known as 3G, 4G, 5G, all those, bandwidths and speeds and what the marketing push for now is the big 5G push. And that's at a speed of a waveform of 60 to 90 billion waves per second with multiple bandwidths inside of that waveform. Wow. So the cell phones that we carry around with us, most of us do at least, that pings at 2.45 billion waves per second. And that's the same bandwidth that destructures water and dehydrates us and our planet.
Okay, lovely.
So
we're helping with that. Yeah, okay.
No, we are the main source of why that is such a big challenge.
No, that's right. No, that's what I'm saying. We're not helping in a positive way. We're helping in creating more of that.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And the one thing to note here is that those are the three stressors, but when you look at how we're designed and we're one with the earth, what is the Schumann resonance at? Are you familiar with that term? So the Schumann resonance is created by a guy, last name Schumann, who figured out that the earth has a pulse and it's a negative ionic charge and the pulse is about 7.83 hertz or waves per second.
Okay.
And Susan, are you familiar with the different dream states, the delta, theta, beta? Mm-hmm. Right. When you're in a dream state in your REM sleep, you're in a theta brainwave state. Delta, theta are the deep sleeps. You're 1 to 8 hertz or waves per second. That's how low and slow your brainwave state is when you're in a restorative sleep mode.
Okay.
It's really similar to the Schumann resonance at 7.83 hertz. So what I'm getting at is we rev one with the universe. And the closer we can get to that resonance, the healthier we're going to be. When we get away from it into the billions of the waves per second and this dirty electricity and the millions of waves per second or hundreds of thousands of waves per second, that chips away at our health. Because what it is it ends up being a one directional waveform that's completely opposite of how we're designed. And it's 10 zeros faster up to than we're really built to sleep, rev, and optimize. So when you have a polarizing one directional waveform that's 10 zeros faster, it's super disruptive for our health in an array of ways. And now we can start to go into those.
Okay. So where do you want to start? At the brain and go down or just the whole body? I mean,
let's start with lots of tests and doctors because you want resources. And bioinitiative.org is several hundred scientists from multiple countries, like about 40 countries. They've done thousands of studies to establish that these non-native EMFs are challenging for our body. And Dr. Martin Paul, so that's bioinitiative.org. Dr. Martin Paul out of Washington State University discovered that the voltage-gated calcium channels open up. And think about that word, voltage-gated. So that's the gateway for energy to our cells. They get disrupted. disrupted from even low level EMF to high level. So what happens is they open up, they allow a positive calcium into a negative cell, which in turn causes tremendous cell and DNA damage. So when you disrupt the energy flow of our cells, you get the secondary effect of cell and DNA damage. Now, how does the body break down? Well, it breaks down in an array of ways. We talked about destructuring the water, it dehydrates you and our environment. The first signs are all cognitive: lack of focus, memory, anxiety, fatigue, behavioral challenges, stress, lack of memory, ringing in the ears, all cognitive signs.
I get the ringing. Yeah.
Yeah, all cognitive. All right. Lack of sleep is the biggest one. These grounding bags will help you sleep 3 to 50% better because, it converts that waveform into those unpolarized waves. So our body can accept this waveform. The first signs of EMF, they're all cognitive. That would be level 1. Level 2 would be muscle twitches, nausea, vomiting, non-trauma concussion symptoms, rashes on the skin, more severe migraines, bloody noses, eye twitching. I mean, all these different things that can happen. They're just devastating effects from the bloody noses on. And we saw that in the Havana cohort, which was the first attack of U.S. embassy workers on foreign soil with microwave. And so this has been documented. This isn't woo-woo stuff. This is literally used as weaponry and weapons in different countries. And then the third effect would be on the bigs. We call them the bigs. So cancer, suicide, diabetes, Alzheimer's, cardiovascular, and cancer, suicide, diabetes, Alzheimer's, cardiovascular. And then the biggest one would be, now that we're seeing, is the lack of fertility.
Interesting.
So that's how all this stuff disrupts. These invisible waves just chip away at our life force. And our government in 1996 established procedural protocols, and they said, hey, if it's ionizing and causes a thermal effect and your cells oscillate and the body warms up just like a microwave would do it, that's not good for you. And that's where we're going to draw the line. But the challenge is that we have so much new information, knowing that low level radiation causes this vibration effect that causes cell and DNA damage. So it doesn't have to have a thermal effect to affect us. Even non-ionizing waveforms are detrimental to our health. And so that's where the challenge is. And then in addition, they keep rolling out faster, more bandwidth, more speed, closer proximity. They really, the FCC, they're not a health organization. They don't care about your health. So, and quite honestly, nor do most of the health agencies. And we saw that about 7 years ago. And you went to Berkeley, so you might have known about the study. The California Department of Public Health released a study on cell phones and how damaging they were to humans. They found acoustic nerve challenges and cancer and all this bad stuff, and they hid the findings. And a Berkeley professor sued him and said, hey, I don't want any money from you guys, but respectfully, just share with everyone what you've learned. So do your job and protect us. And because you're a health organization. Well, they were court ordered to put it up and disclose their findings. And now they've buried it on their website. You can't find it. You could find it about 7 years ago, and now you can't find it anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. So kudos to your Berkeley professor that did that. Yeah. Because we know this stuff, and we know these organizations, even if they're health organizations, they're hiding it. And the challenge is that the FCC is in control of all this stuff, and they just say, hey, we need faster connectivity. It doesn't matter at what cost. We just have to be connected. Put these towers up right next to homes, and there's just they don't care about your health, and they don't care about our world. They just want to have signal strength. But the irony here, I think the biggest thing is they want the whole world connected. But if you go to remote oceans and deserts and mountains and forests, there's no electricity there. If you go to third world poverty-ridden nations, they don't have electricity there. The whole world doesn't want to be connected to the internet. So we need We need to really understand that.
I understand. Problem to me with that is that all of these little third world countries do want to be connected. I don't know about the people in them. They don't have the infrastructure. I understand that. Yeah.
There's no infrastructure there. So how can they be connected? So to radiate them with phased array laser beams at satellites closer to the Earth than we've ever seen, when they don't even have an infrastructure for it, it's not there. It's just like the electric car phase. That infrastructure isn't there to support it. And they keep rolling this out. And for the people who think driving an electric car is great for the environment, it's not. It's not a net zero. So let's walk through that process for a minute. Okay. We use coal and fossil fuels and gas to mine cadmium, nickel, and all these precious minerals in other countries. And so you're using all these precious natural resources that are really challenging to mine. And then you're putting them in a battery that you're sitting on. So in no health book in the history of any doctor has anyone ever read that sitting on a massive battery is good for your health. Never. It's never been written. So we're sitting on batteries. A colleague tested 18% lower testosterone for people driving electric cars.
Wow.
Not only do we mine these with precious minerals, we're using that up. We're using fossil fuels to do that. It's cooking people when they're sitting in them. And then the car doesn't get more efficient when you're driving it. And then your battery has a life expectancy of about a decade. So when that battery's dead, where does it go?
Right.
It fills up our landfills with the biggest battery you've ever seen full of acid. It's not recyclable to the extent that it makes it any bit healthy for the environment. It's not a net zero in any way, shape, or form. And it's really killing people and their fertility opportunities for families driving them, especially Teslas, because it's a really, they have all three of the EMFs at the highest level.
Oh, I have no doubt. I don't think Tesla, well, I won't say that on here, my thoughts about Tesla, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Well, their stock's great. You'd make a lot of money on it, but unfortunately they're rolling out these satellites. And there's another guy, Arthur Furstenberg, and he wrote the book called The Invisible Rainbow. And I highly recommend, he has a cellphonetaskforce.org website. Check out his book, check out his website. He's just very, very well versed in this whole field. He'll be the first one to tell you that the stuff is just chipping away at our life, our life force. The book is amazing, Susan. So The Invisible Rainbow categorizes the history of electricity and life.
Oh, interesting.
And it goes back into 1889 and graphs deaths back then and charts it. And they charted the flu deaths is what they're calling them. And there weren't any consistently before 1889 until we put electricity into our homes. They named it the flu before then because it would fly in and fly out with cosmic shifts of solar flares.
Oh, wow.
So when our electromagnetic blanket of an atmosphere shifts from solar flares cosmically, our bodies adapt. We produce a virus. The virus is a dead protein. It's our adaptation system of our body. And that's how it's a system upgrade. We adapt. Some people don't do so well. Others end up, getting sick and their bodies can fight and fend it off.
Yep.
In 1889, the flu was here to stay when we introduced electricity in their homes. In 1918 was the Spanish flu. Guess what they rolled out? They, meaning governments, rolled out worldwide.
I don't know.
Radio waves for the first time ever.
Oh, okay.
Okay. A lot of people got sick and died during that phase. And then you have the Hong Kong flu. What did we roll out then? Satellites in the Van Allen belt, this protective belt in our atmosphere. Well, and then what did we roll out in World War II? Radar. And then guess what? Oh, the last 2 years, what did we roll out? 5G.
5G. Yeah.
Every single major catastrophic event where a lot of people died, some people call them pandemics, are directly correlated with increased shifts in our electromagnetic blanket of an atmosphere from non-native, one-directional, man-made radiation waveforms.
Wow. Who knew?
Now you do.
Now we do. Yeah. Yeah.
Now you do. Yeah. So there's, respectfully, sense. There's not anything flying around to kill people, like a virus. Those aren't the bad guys. There's so many doctors out there, Tom Cowan, Andrew Kaufman, Bear Lando, Jess Pietros, incredible MDs, chiros, naturopathics, like all across the country. I could list so many of them.
Oh, I'm sure.
Zach Bush, another MD, they're all say that it's about your bioterrain over germ theory. There's not something flying around to kill you. The contagion is the frequency of the environmental toxin. So Tom Cowan says it best. If you're going to study dolphins, Susan, and they're the healthiest dolphins, you're studying them for 30 years and you're like the best in the business. And all of a sudden in 2020, they all get sick. Are you going to go, hey, in 2020, their genes were all messed up and let's look at their gene pool because they're all going to get sick and die in 2020. Not many people would raise their hand. And he did this in a medical conference and a few people raised their hand on that. And then he goes, or are you going to check if that dolphin gave that dolphin a virus? And a lot of people raised their hands. And he said, or are you going to say who polluted the water? Like some massive oil spill.
Right.
And everyone, that right there, Susan, was the aha moment for every medical professional in the room going, okay, dolphin, their environment is the ocean. People, our environment is the air. Our air is plasma, ether, where waveforms and particles travel through it. That's how we're able to communicate and see each other and hear each other. It's simple when we understand physics in the framework of biology, physics, and how we're made. There's nothing flying around to kill us. We wouldn't be here for billions of years if there were. Our body is built on viruses, bacteria, and fungus.
Okay.
We can't live without that stuff. What we can live without is radiation and one-directional stuff. And it would be a lot easier to live without it. We would be a lot healthier as a population at this day and age without it.
Okay. So essentially what you're saying is that or maybe let me ask it a different way. So is there some sort of connection though from the radiation to the viruses getting stronger and multiplying faster?
So basically what happens is this is my take on it. I feel that contagions are frequencies because everything has a resonance. Now there's contact frequencies of mono or herpes or whatever, STD stuff. You have to touch it and then you get it. And then your body's like, okay, I got the frequency of it. Now I get
to play with it. Oh, good.
Yeah. These are the symptoms that my bodies are doing to start to cleanse. And that's what people call a virus, or bacteria or fungus, what have you. So the contagions are really frequencies. So when you notch up a frequency of a 5G and you turn it up maybe from 30 billion, 20 billion waves per second to 30 or 30 to 40, just test it. And then maybe when you have the same symptoms of the coronavirus, like they're injecting into animals and that frequency maybe gets passed through those waveforms. So I don't think it's too far-fetched to understand that these bandwidths, like we can make a call across the world instantly, right? So how come a frequency of a contagion couldn't be broadcasted across the world instantly to it would affect our body and go, hey, I have to produce these symptoms of that similar frequency to adapt to it. So I feel that's how it happens. Tom Cowan wrote a book called The Contagion Myth. He's a MD. He retired his MD status because I think he was asked to because he believes train over germ theory. And now he's a regenerative biodynamic farmer because we're one with the soil and our bodies act really one with the soil. So these guys that are doing this, they're massive, brilliant minds on the body, on medicine, and they're huge environmentalists to protect ourselves. And they're the guys that are sharing this information out there. So it's undeniable, undisputable evidence, and Children's Health Defense, Robert Kennedy Jr.'s foundation, sued the FCC for rolling out all this 5G stuff, and they won for the FCC to relook at these proximity protocols. So they have to go back to the drawing board and relook at this stuff. So this isn't, I know it may be new to a lot of people's ears, and this might be
probably a
lot to chew on, but you guys, we weren't designed to die in 2020. Like, that's not how God made us. We're just not made that way. So we got to really start to look at biology and health and nutrition and physics and all these subjects that aren't taught in school. No. And unfortunately, the Western medicine, they're not even taught it. They're taught like maybe one semester of nutrition or health, or maybe even less than that, maybe 10 hours. Some of the MDs told me, like Jess Pietros. They're just not taught that amount of stuff. And so we really have to really look at, how does this universe work, and how do we work, and how do we feed ourselves to optimize it? Because radiating ourselves with radiation isn't intuitively helpful. Filling our soil and killing our topsoil and modifying our food doesn't make sense. And sitting on massive batteries doesn't make sense. I mean, the list goes on and on. So we have to really start to sit back and question some things and unlearn a lot of what we've been taught. And because unfortunately, these industries, all they do are lobby, Susan. They're investing billions and billions of lobbying dollars to get these rules passed. Like, this is devastating to let technology infiltrate our food. I mean, it just is. Yeah. And I could go on into every single industry. So we really have to look at that. Like, how is modifying and manufacturing food and riddling with pesticides beneficial for us? We've seen the most increase in diabetes and cancer. The bell curve just keeps going up. We're not doing it the right way. So we have to stop and go back to regenerative farming and look at replenishing this topsoil, because when we heal the soil, we'll start to heal ourselves as well.
No, that's we have a lot of people doing that here in the Bay Area. It's one good thing about living here, amongst many. I'm fine. I'm fine with where I am. Thank you very much. Yeah, it can be, I think partly it can be kind of scary, especially, it's important that people understand that a lot of this is going on.
Right.
But I think human beings, if we don't really understand, we get scared, and then we push it away and just stick with what we know.
True.
Right? Even though it isn't true.
That's a good point. And I feel on the fear factor side, one of the beauties of what the messaging I want to convey today is, this stuff is really scary potentially, but please be aware not to give your power away to it. And when you can really lean into the understanding of physics, and we can convert a one-directional waveform into a healthy waveform. That's physics. And so that's how we're designed. That's how Mother Nature designed us. So how do you do it? Well, you go outside in nature. Eileen McCusick, she wrote a book called Electric Body, Electric Health. I see you have a lot of books back there. So that's second. So first book, remember, was The Invisible Rainbow by Arthur Firstenberg. Second book was The Contagion Myth, Tom Cowan, and he's written about 5 others that you want to read. And then the third is Eileen McCusick, Electric Body, Electric Health. She talks about our body acting like a battery. We get a negative charge from the unpolarized negative charge of the earth, and we pull the electrons in from the earth. We get a positive charge from the unpolarized waveforms of the light, and then we breathe in minerals, and hopefully we get it from our food, and we drink clean water for the conductivity. That's how our body battery works. When we put shoes on and we're not connected to the earth as closely, and we're not going outside and we're living in these boxes full of electricity. And then we keep adding stressors of Alexas and AC, and turning up the signals, strengths of everything. We're inundating ourselves with levels of EMF stressors that we've never ever seen before. So we have to go back to understanding how our body works and how the universe works and how we're one with it and how we can get grounded by nature. You can do it outside for free. Go barefoot, touch a tree, put your feet in a body of water, put your whole body in a body of water, an ocean, lake, a river, pond, anything. Just get out in nature and get that sunlight. And then when you're inside your home, use a grounding bag. Put one on these on your bed. You'll sleep 3 to 50% better. It's that simple.
Wow. Okay. We'll have to try that. We do get out for a walk at least once a day.
Excellent. I love
but
that.
with our shoes on.
Yeah. Well, go touch a tree. I mean, that's you're doing step one. You're getting it from the sun. You're breathing in the good air.
Right.
So you're over halfway there. So just touch a tree, get close to that resonance of the earth. Every single person looks to the earth to ground something, right?
Yeah, no, that's true.
They put a grounding rod in the earth, right?
Yeah.
Their book called Earthing by Clint Ober talks about earthing and grounding. You got to touch the ground to get grounded, right? Everyone knows that. All electricians ground something into the earth.
Yeah.
That's how they ground it. We did the same thing. We just mine the crystals. We put it in the grounding bag to ground out your home, your bed, your desk, your office. 5 together of these will clear 2,000 square feet, Susan, of your home. One on your bed, you'll sleep 3 to 50% better. We just had Dr. Rodney White on from Nebraska, and he's a chiropractor there. He's been testing his sleep for decades. Guess what? His sleep improved from deep sleep from 45 minutes to 100 minutes. That's over 50% with the grounding bags. Testing it for over 2 months. He's never in the last almost 15 years of him testing his sleep seen that significant of improvement until he started using our grounding bags.
Can you put it below the bed?
Yeah, you can put it underneath the bed. If it's under, just lean it against the leg of the bed so it's touching the bed.
Oh, okay. I'm just because, you move around and there's 2 of us and next thing you know, the bag's on the floor and it's not doing any good.
Yeah. So if your bed's touching the wall, Susan, it's charged, your bed's charged to the level of the outlet. So that's right. So, and if you have electrical, if you have metal bed frame or springs in the bed, you're just more of a conductor. So that's the challenge with this stuff. We're getting into these things and not really seeing it all the way through. So guys, some of the tips I want to leave everyone with is when you're not using your devices, put them on airplane mode. And when you're sleeping, put an outlet timer, plug your router into an outlet timer. So it turns off when you're sleeping. Better yet, hardwire your home. It's faster, it's safer, it's more reliable. There's minimal health challenges with it. So these are some of the simple tips you can do. I turn our electricity off completely in our bedrooms. So there's no electricity going in there at night when we're sleeping. And that's really important. So you want to get that resonance as low and slow as possible in your home. So most homes now, it's all smart metered out. So the smart meters are automated gas and electric meters. You can opt out of it from a health standpoint. So what was it? Take Back Your Power, which is Josh Del Sol's movie, his documentary movie on that. So check out that on the smart meters, but you can opt out of it. It's $15, an extra $10 a month and $75 one-time fee to do it. So
interesting.
Little simple things. Stop driving electric cars, obviously, and then get into an older car that doesn't have the resonance. Turn the Bluetooth off. Even the Bluetooth off in a newer car, still my meter's out. Just with the wireless stuff, it's still super devastating. Also, get some Faraday bags. Put your phone in a Faraday bag. I just had mine in it. but put your phone in a Faraday bag. It protects you from your phone. It saves the life of your battery because they're not harvesting your data. The reason the life of our battery doesn't last very long is because they keep aggregating all your information at record speeds. Every single app on your phone has up to about 12, 15 tracking capabilities that are just constantly monitoring you. And it's always looking for a signal and always sending out information. So that's why our batteries don't last so long. So start understanding how to work with technology in a way that's helpful and beneficial for you. This is a big topic.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I think in a lot of ways, we just kind of touched the surface of it here. Don't have that much time at this point to really take a deep dive. Although you've given us a lot of information, a lot of things to think about, and a lot of things to follow up on.
Thank you.
For sure. Yes. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I have the links to both of your websites, and I will put that all in the show notes. And I think you already mentioned that at the beginning, but if you want to just throw them out there again, let everybody know if they want to get more information.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Yeah. Athleticism.com. It's spelled athletic, ISM.com, EMFrocks.com. You can go there and get the grounding bags. You can get mini grounding bags for a purse, a pocket, or a backpack. And then we have 2-size Faraday bags you can get for your cell phone to protect you from your phone and all the data harvesting. Yeah.
Doesn't that sound so funny? Oh, you need protection from your phone.
Well, it does.
No, it makes perfect sense, but it's just, I'm just saying I don't know. It's, oh my goodness, it's raining. Okay. It just it's just one of those things that, you wouldn't think that your dog maybe might bite you or something, but, we don't, and maybe that's part of the problem is we don't see the phones as being dangerous.
Exactly. That is, you nailed it right on the head, Susan. I really encourage people to go buy meters. I have a one directional wireless meter, Acoustamere, they call it. The second I point it to my cell phone, the meter screams off the charts. I point it away because it's a one directional, and it quiets down to nothing. Back at the phone, starts screaming. You show that to any person or a kid, they realize that this thing isn't harmless. This thing is always looking to be connected. They call it smart because it's waiting for you to talk to it or collect other signals or send information out on you. Yeah. Like it's literally, it is the biggest, hands down, the biggest individual stressor that we've ever had closest to our body. It's not a security blanket. We want to get people out of this meta universe mentality of seeing, hey, technology, how many steps did I take? How well did I sleep? How do I feel? When do I eat? Stop it, everybody. Go back to knowing how you feel and knowing, you can use it maybe once as a baseline. I've been working with professional athletes for decades and we don't test every day. So you shouldn't be wearing this stuff every day. You do a baseline, maybe a midpoint and an endpoint on a test. If you want to use it, it's great. We love technology, but establish these protocols with it. Stop wearing these Apple Watches all the time and literally take your phone and turn all the tracking stuff off on every single app. Your battery will save. They won't get as much information. All this.
I already do that. Yeah. I just don't like being tracked, period. So that's why I turned them all off.
Yeah, it's a
before I knew all this. Yeah.
So you're already on the same page. We want privacy. We want safety and security. Hardwire your home with fiber optic. It's faster. It's safer. It's more reliable. There's minimal health challenges. Because there's so many simple things that you can do to protect you and your loved ones. Stop putting a laptop on your lap above your reproductive organs. Like literally.
Oh no, my reproductive organs are way over. I mean, I'm way past that.
Well, I mean, most of I'm over 50 as well, but
no, I'm closer to 70 than I am to 60. How's that? I am be 68 next month.
Oh, happy birthday! So, but for the younger ones, or for the parents or
I agree.
Kids, Like this is a big thing. Most people don't
Yeah.
hear these waveforms, but it's noise pollution. Most people can't hear it, but animals and plants do hear
Okay.
it. So
Interesting.
it's noise pollution. And I can hear it when I go in the ocean and go underwater. And if there's a foil board, electric foil board, you can hear zzz, you can hear this buzzing in the water. It's noise pollution. I mean, that's what the animals are hearing and the plants are hearing all the time. It's that disruptive. So we want to really get away from this Internet of Things in the ocean, and then have it go around us when it's near us.
Thank you. Yeah. No, I agree. Okay. Well, we obviously could talk about this for a lot longer, but we're probably hitting the end of most people's attention span this day and age. So let's go ahead and we'll wrap this up. And thank you very much for coming on and sharing all of this and making it much more understandable.
Thank you, Susan. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Great. So I will say and finish up as I usually do, which is that neither of us are doctors. This is not to be seen as medical advice. And if you're having issues, please go in to the emergency room or your doctor or whoever's the appropriate person for you to be. And with that, I will say that I will look forward to talking to all of you next week.
This has been Healthy Tips After 50 with Susan Rosen. To stay on the cutting edge of the most effective health strategies, subscribe to this podcast and let us know what you thought of the show with a comment or like on iTunes. Visit healthytipsafter50.com for this episode's show notes, more resources, and free offers.